Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Street Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite the show, as we have a lot to get into in the world of Southern California sports, such as the Dodgers. They are in the World Series, and they take on the New York Yankees. It's going to be an instant classic, and hopefully the boys in blue can bring home the fall championship. Also, USC football continues to anger me as they just lost to Maryland. But at least UCLA won. They took down Rutgers, which I actually predicted that. The Chargers unfortunately disappointed as they charged in Chargers fashion against the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. And the Rams, they actually look good. They took down the Raiders, but they also took down the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. Is this a good sign for things to come in terms of them? And how about LA stealing the one seed from LA Galaxy? Playoff time is here in the MLS, and the Lakers, they look pretty good in their season opener against Minnesota. The Clippers against the Phoenix Suns, not so much. Let's go 20 minutes. All that and more here on the SoCal Street Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Street Sports Show here on iSports Radio. Your feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday evening, Friday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way into episode 198 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. And without any further delay, let's begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be where it's at without iSports Radio providing the platform to go live on StreamYard. Please do follow iSports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube because we're trying to get to 500 subscribers, and with your help, we can make that happen. Promise you I'll do a little something special if we get to 500 subscribers via iSports Radio. And iSports Radio is available on other podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, CastBox, Deezer, JioSaavn, Podchaser. The list goes on and on. And we have a website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news, our blog, our page dedicated to each podcast, such as the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, our merchandise shop, where you can see right here. And like I said, here is the link to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show via iesportsradio.com. And make sure to check out the Hall of Fame, as I am Hall of Fame representative number 10. So for the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports stations around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. Let's get into our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals, as well as let's talk to you all about what iSports Radio is all about. Here we go.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out iSportsRadio.com as well as our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket, Beef Jerky, and Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. Without any further delay, let's get on into the SoCal sports action. So, if you can't tell by my voice, I'm not feeling all that great because, well, I had a head cold a couple weeks ago. I kind of got over it, but then last Friday, I had a chest cold. Well, I was in a chilly area in Newport Beach, and then it eventually developed into a chest cold. And I think it was after Monday when I did set point, it kind of developed into a chest cold, and I was like, oh, God. So it's very, very frustrating. I unfortunately can't rip USC too bad, but, oh, well, what can you do? So please forgive me if I do violently cough. I swear I should be better by next month, by either this upcoming Monday or the next show. I refuse to let this illness get the better of me. With all that said and done, let's get on into the SoCal sports action. So, speaking of USC, but first, before we get into USC, follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. And you can follow me, Teran Rodriguez, at Teran Rodriguez1 on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, let's get on into the SoCal sports action, as I am seeing red. And you want to know why? Oh, I'll tell you why. I'm seeing red because those USC Trojans, where's my, oh, here it is. You want to know why I'm seeing red? I'll tell you why. They lost to Maryland 29-28. I am so angry that they lost this one. But honestly, there was a little doubt in my mind that they would lose. Just a little. There was a little inkling that made me think, watch USC somehow just fumble this winnable game. Very winnable. Maryland didn't even have one Big Ten win going into this game. They were probably the epitome of the bottom of the Big Ten, outside of like maybe Purdue. But freaking USC losing 29-28 in a game they were pretty much leading in all the way. I'm so angry. I just want to USC is lucky that I have a chest cold. Otherwise, I swear I would be like cursing. That would probably be my thing. I'd be cursing and screaming up a storm, saying, why the heck did USC lose this game? It just doesn't make sense. They were up at the very least 14 most of the way. And then the scary thing was that fourth quarter comes, USC still leading by, they're still leading 28-14. Maryland gets a touchdown after SC missed a field goal. I'm sorry, not after a missed field goal. They got a touchdown after USC got a touchdown, and they completed the 2-point conversion. USC has to punt, and then the defense comes up big for USC. So USC, all they just need to do is get a field goal, and then they pretty much have a 2-possession lead. It didn't happen. They missed the field goal. That was when they missed the field goal. And then it was nervous time, and then Maryland got a touchdown, which they were down 6 at the time, so they only need to kick the extra point. And that's how USC lost. Oh, by the way, USC had one more chance to win the game. But unfortunately, they botched it. The field goal was blocked, and Maryland comes away with the win. Okay, I'm going to try to be as calm as possible. But what the heck was that, SC? Why would you lose to Maryland? I don't want to hear the excuses. Everyone's probably going to blame Lincoln Riley, but there's no way they can blame him. He's not the one calling the defense. He's not the one allowing 15 points, or 15 unanswered points after USC got a touchdown. No. The defense, someone on the defense has kind of got to be accountable. And with the amount of talent that USC has, there's no way they should be losing to an opponent like Maryland. This is just sickening, dude. Like, how? It's Maryland. Maryland, I tell you. Miller Moss even had a pretty good game. He had 336 passing yards. He had an interception, but he had 3 passing touchdowns. This dude, Billy Edwards Jr., he wasn't even that great. But USC made him look elite. They made him look like Peyton Manning. Or anyone that came out of Maryland, but I digress. But they made Billy Edwards look super good. It just does not make any sense that USC makes a quarterback with the name Billy look super good. I just don't understand. USC, you disappoint me every single week. And I got something special for 3 and Out College Edition tomorrow. But I'm very angry at this. I am so mad at this loss. Like, it was one thing with the Minnesota loss. It was one thing with the Michigan loss. They got robbed in that game. It was one thing with the Minnesota loss because that was kind of a trap game, and that was kind of a road game, and the week after they had Penn State. It was another thing with Penn State, even though they should have won that game because Penn State are the biggest pretenders ever. But you lost to freaking Maryland. That's just sad, dude. They had only They had no conference wins going into this game. None. And you made them look like freaking look like Ohio State, I guess. I just don't understand, dude. Why does USC got to do this? So USC has now lost 3 straight as tonight, conveniently enough. They play Rutgers, who just recently lost to UCLA last weekend, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But, I mean, it's at the Coliseum, and Rutgers has lost 3 straight, just like SC. But why do I get the feeling SC will find a way to poop the bed when it matters? I'm just very concerned about this for the most part. I just really am so scared for this. But I definitely think USC can win this one. USC has to. If they lose to Rutgers, I can maybe see some heads getting rolled. And here's an interesting statistic. Lincoln Riley, in his first 34 games, he's 22-12. Clay Helton, everyone's favorite, lovable, except not really, USC coach, was 24-10 in his first 34 games at USC. Ouch. I just don't. I mean, does that mean Lincoln Riley's going to get fired? No. Lincoln Riley deserves to stay. And who are they going to replace him with? Bill Belichick? I just feel he's not suitable for the college game, but, you know. But for USC, they got to win tonight. If they don't win against Rutgers, I'm just going to be so afraid. But I got USC winning in a close one, which shouldn't really be a close one, but I got them winning 26-24 against Rutgers. They got to beat the Scarlet Knights or the Queensmen. Yes, that used to be what Rutgers was called before being changed to the Scarlet Knights. So USC better win this one. I swear if they don't, there's going to be carnage. But speaking of Rutgers, it's actually a perfect segue to go into the next little segment that we had as... that'll do. As UCLA finally won a Big Ten football game. Woohoo! They beat Rutgers last Saturday, 35-32, which I didn't even think UCLA had 35 points in them, which that sounds mean. I don't mean it like that, but that sounds mean when I say it like that. But yeah, they finally wound up winning a Big Ten football game. I was wondering where the Big Ten win was going to come from, but they managed to beat Rutgers, which Rutgers was a walking slop of mediocrity. It snaps their 5-game losing skid and kind of gives them some hope. So great job to UCLA. That was big right there. I was so proud of them. It's like, finally they have themselves a decent game. They could have maybe done it a little bit more without the dramatics, but hey, what can you do? Ethan Garbers threw for 4 touchdowns. Dude was on one, so great job to him. He actually led the team in rushing yards, which UCLA got to do something about that running game. But Ethan Garbers was him, so congratulations to Ethan Garbers and to UCLA football for finally getting that elusive Big Ten conference win. So UCLA can't hurt anybody this week because UCLA is on bye. But they'll be back in action not this Saturday, but the following Saturday when they hit the road to Memorial Park to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So, get ready. If I were UCLA, I would hit that sleigh machine a little bit harder in the coming weeks just because you got to win the trenches. That's how Nebraska wins their games, in the trenches. If UCLA gets out physical by Nebraska, then Ethan Garbers is going to get turned into roadkill. And he's going to have no time to throw. But, yeah, there you go. Congratulations to UCLA on their first Big Ten conference win. I'm so proud of them. I feel like crying. Anyway, great job to them regardless. Jokes aside. Good win. All right. San Diego State had a bye last week, so they can't really hurt us, or they couldn't hurt us. Okay, here's it. So San Diego State had a bye last week, and they are back in action tomorrow when they take on Washington State, which is going to be a nightmare of a game. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one, but it's going to be a very scary one. I feel San Diego State's going to have their work cut out for them. Now, thankfully, it's not a Mountain West Conference game because technically, and this is news to me, Washington State and Oregon State are still in the Pac-12. Does this mean they're going to be playing for a Pac-12 championship? Anyway, this one won't count toward the MPSF record, and thankfully for San Diego State's sake, their loss to Oregon State does not count toward the Mountain West Conference record. So, good job for San Diego State, but they got Washington State, which it's not that I don't think San Diego State can win. It's just that I don't think San Diego State can keep up with Washington State because Washington State is good. Let's get that out of the way right there. And it's going to be a late night game. I know San Diego State's going to have the advantage being at home at Snapdragon Stadium, but let's be real. Washington State, there's a reason why they're 6-1. They've got some studs on that team of theirs. San Diego State still has trouble finding what an offense is. And the defense kind of has been up and down at best. Sometimes they'll have games where they're pitching a near shutout or they're holding their opponent to like 10 or less points. And then there are other times where San Diego State is basically, the San Diego State's defense looks like SpongeBob SquarePants, porous and full of holes. See what I did there? But for this game, San Diego State made me feel hope in their previous game against Wyoming, even though they won that one by 3 against a 1-win team. But do I think San Diego State can win this weekend? Do I really think San Diego State can win their third straight game against Washington State and do the unthinkable in a little Pac-12, semi-Pac-12 after dark? The answer is no. Yeah, I got San Diego State losing to Washington State 21-17. I think it'll be close. I think San Diego State is going to clamp down defensively, but I just think Washington State is going to be too much for them. I just think that the Cougars are just going to have too much bite to them. And this isn't a reflection of San Diego State being bad. I just think it's more so Washington State being better. So, in my opinion, I think San Diego State is going to lose this one. And they've also got Boise State next up, following the Washington State game, which that's kind of going to be a little bit of a factor there. But other than that, their schedule looks kind of winnable. They got New Mexico, Utah State, Air Force, UNLV. So if they go 3-3 the rest of the way, starting tonight, they'll be bowling. And Utah State's very beatable. I think Air Force is beatable. New Mexico is beatable. Heck, UNLV is beatable. Washington State is kind of beatable. I just think that coming off of a bye, San Diego State is kind of going to be a little bit too ahead of themselves. Yes, they'll probably be more healthy, but I just don't see the win coming this week. So I got San Diego State losing a heartbreaker on Saturday, but if San Diego State wins, I will gladly eat my crow. All right, but that is going to do it for the college football portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break, give my voice a little bit of time to rest. When we come back, we will be talking some NFL as the Chargers, they disappointed me again. But the Rams, they're trending in the right direction, dare I say it, because they got some players back. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Teran Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Back with segment number 2 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all of those shows, such as Chi-Town Weekly and Set Point, hosted by yours truly. My man Drewski popped into the chat room. He says, "What's good, Teran? Have a great show and go Dodgers." Hey, I appreciate you cheering for the Dodgers. I know it kind of sucks not seeing the Rangers in the Fall Classic, but it is what it is. But thank you for popping in, Drewski. I appreciate you. He actually asked a very good question. You think Lincoln Riley has control over his locker room? I hope so. I mean, I can't imagine USC wanting to fire him after they did so much to go get Lincoln Riley. And Lincoln Riley had to basically leave Oklahoma, which everyone at Oklahoma was so irate when he left them. It's kind of like how the Chargers left San Diego. But to answer Drewski's question, I think he does. I mean, it's not like USC is getting blown out. The Michigan loss, they lost by 3, where, again, I feel Michigan kind of got away with a bunch of no calls. The Minnesota loss could have been avoided, but it was a road game, and it was also a trap game. The Penn State loss also could have been avoided. USC dominated the first half, looked non-existent in the second half defensively, and lost in overtime. And then the Maryland loss, USC led wire to wire, and they just lost because Maryland USC's defense looked bad first and foremost. And second and foremost, Maryland just clutched up when they needed to, and unfortunately USC just couldn't clutch up. So I feel Lincoln Riley for now has control over his locker room. If they were getting blown out if they were getting blown out by teams, I think it would be a whole different story. But all of their losses are by 1 score. It is literally like watching the Chargers. And speaking of the Chargers, that's actually a perfect segue to go into our next topic. Those nice little powder blues, as the Chargers lost to the Cardinals on Monday Night Football, 17-15, exclusively on ESPN+. So I had to get ESPN Plus just to watch this game, and I also had to move Set Point to I think I did the show at 1 p.m. Yeah, 1 p.m. because I did before. This is KC Sports with Bishop and Franchise, but yeah, I downloaded I got ESPN Plus and moved my plans of having Set Point just to see the Chargers Charger. You know what? I don't even know why I bother. This was so winnable. The Cardinals did everything they could to try to give the Chargers a free win. Justin Herbert literally had probably his best game passing-wise. And he did so when he had having some of the most unknown / terrible wide receivers. Justin Herbert was throwing the ball to Ladd McConkey, who wasn't even 100%. Josh Palmer, who wasn't 100%. He was without Quentin Johnston. He was without Quentin Johnston. He was throwing the ball to Will Dissly because Hayden Hurst was out. He was throwing the ball to Simi Fehoko. He was even throwing the ball to Jalen Reagor of all players. And he fumbles the ball near the 1-yard line in the end zone. That butterfinger, no good, sidewinding, toadstool player shouldn't even be on the Chargers. That dude should be cut immediately. He needs to be putting the fries in the freaking bag. I am so sick of him. Get that man off my team immediately. Bring back Mike Williams, please, Chargers. But seriously, Chargers had 2 first-quarter turnovers. They played clean the rest of the way, but except without the 3 in the house. But, dude, that wasn't the most irritating part. So, Tyre Tart, who is everyone's favorite 300-pound lineman, he actually gets an interception off of a tipped ball. It's actually the second one he's had. And he tries to return the ball for more yards. But the worst thing that could happen did happen. He fumbled because one of the receivers knocked the ball out of his hands, and it was recovered by Arizona. Tyre Tart went straight up full-on Marlon McCree. We are not going to discuss that. But dude literally went Marlon McCree and decided to look cute and fancy, trying to get extra yards as a big man when he didn't even take care of the freaking football. When are these freaking defenders going to learn? Just go down. Go down. I think the Chargers still would have been in Cardinals territory. But instead, I don't think it mattered just because the Cardinals eventually punted as well. But it doesn't matter. But still, that still is a golden opportunity wasted just because you want to get more yards. Like, this is the biggest what if. What if Marlon McCree just went down and didn't give Tom Brady the ball back? Would the Chargers be advancing to the AFC Championship to play the Indianapolis Colts? Maybe. That's a question that will never be known. But I'm so mad at the Chargers. They just make me frustrated. It's like this always happens. Whenever I cancel my plans, they always find a way to screw the pooch. Anyway. So next up, they play the New Orleans Saints, which after their 2-0 start, they have lost 5 in a row. Either way, they've lost, I think, 4 or 5 of their last games, which I think that's pretty funny. They look pretty good beating the Panthers and a Cowboys team that was missing some of its top players. But they haven't looked good ever since. And they just got embarrassed on Thursday Night Football against the Broncos. But, look, for the Chargers' sake, I hope they can bounce back. 15 points? Only field goals? Chargers couldn't run the ball effectively. And even though Justin Herbert had a great game with over 350 passing yards, throwing to the most unknown receivers, they couldn't capitalize in the red zone. They couldn't capitalize on big drives. Yes, great job, Cameron Dicker, for making all those field goals. But this is like freaking having Easton Stick at quarterback, not being able to finish drives. It just doesn't make sense. Why can't the Chargers just play good, clean football? Why can't they beat a team like the Cardinals? Don't get me wrong. Cardinals earned that win. No doubt about it. But that was straight embarrassing. It's probably going to be – that was probably their most winnable primetime game, which hardly anybody got to see. And then they just screwed it. And that could probably be the loss that keeps them out of the playoffs because their next games were also very winnable. They had the Saints, then the Browns, and then the Bengals. I feel there's like one missing, but I feel the Chargers would have had a very favorable schedule before they faced the Ravens. But little do we know, the Chargers always like to make it difficult on themselves. It just frustrates me, dude. So, Yeah. Looking at the Chargers schedule, they had the Saints, the Browns, the Titans. I forgot the Titans. The Bengals, which they've actually kind of caught fire, but they look decent. And then they got the Ravens. Falcons are winnable. And I said this on my personal account. The Chargers schedule is very favorable. There are only two games I see them dropping are the Ravens and the Chiefs. And ironically enough, they're both on prime time. So, okay, Marcus. Okay, funny guy. He says, Chargers are trash. All right, Marcus. So how are the Niners doing? I'm waiting. I want to hear how the Niners are doing after, I don't know. Dare I say it? They lost to the Rams. Did the Niners lose to the Rams, though? So, Marcus, I don't think you should be talking. Anyway, and Marcus is going off in the chat room. But, yeah, salute to you, Marcus. I appreciate you. But back to the Chargers. Can they take down the really New Orleans Saints? Well, for the sake of the Chargers, I hope so. They are currently 3-3. They could very well easily be 6-3 by the time they face the Bengals. And if that's the case, then I could see that maybe getting flexed to primetime. I don't even know who is playing on primetime that week on Sunday Night Football. But yeah, but I got the Chargers winning. I mean, they won't have Derek Carr, but I got the Chargers winning 28-17. Saints are going to be starting Spencer Rattler. I'm sure they'll have most of their players back, like Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. The Chargers just have to play their brand of football. They have to play good, clean, solid football. It's just simple, and they have to get the run game going. I was disappointed in the fact that they didn't run the ball that much, and I was also disappointed that they couldn't stop Kyler Murray. Yeah, they couldn't stop Kyler Murray. They couldn't stop James Conner. It was just very frustrating. The run defense was the most disappointing thing. Heck, it was so bad, Kyler Murray didn't even get sacked once that game. So, yeah, Chargers just didn't play like the team that I thought they would have been. They made the Cardinals look elite, which is very tough to do. But, yeah, the Chargers, unfortunately. But this week's a new week. They have to get up off the mat. Otherwise, they'll be looking at 3-4, and it'll be tough sledding for them going forward, especially since their division foe, the Broncos, play the Carolina Panthers, and the Chiefs play the Raiders. So there you go. All right, but enough about the Chargers. Yeah, it was very frustrating, but they have a chance to bounce back, and I could see them bouncing back. It's just all about putting together a full 4 quarters and doing everything clean and as possible. So hopefully the Chargers remedy those mistakes. But anyway, Marcus was saying Chargers are trash, and I basically said Rams beat the Niners. So what do you guys say to that? Anyway, speaking of the Rams, they beat the Raiders in Week 7. Okay, you know what? Just for you all, even though I am not feeling 100%, I'm going to do it. The Rams beat, Raiders! God, it's going to hurt my throat in the long run. So the Rams beat the Raiders 20-15, and they also beat the Minnesota Vikings 30-20 yesterday. So, anyway, Rams against the Raiders. Oh, God. This was ugly with a capital U. But, yeah. The Rams defense was pretty good. Linebackers weren't all that great. Defensive backs, I think, were great from what one person told me. I mean, it's a young defense. I can't really give the Rams too much flack, but honestly, it's still a good win. I mean, my thing for the Raiders is losing Aiden O'Connell kind of hurt them, as they had to start Uncle Rico, a.k.a. Gardner Minshew, and he was not good. He was bad. But Matthew Stafford, even without his best weapons like Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, he still looked pretty decent. Now, like I said, thankfully for the Rams, they had Kyron Williams, and the defense clutched up. And thankfully, the Rams were smart, unlike the Raiders, who sadly did the worst things possible. So yeah, taking a deep dive at this Raiders game, I just felt that the Raiders had a good shot at winning this. I thought the Raiders were gonna win this one, but they just left too many points on the board. Meanwhile, the Rams, they did all they could without some of their best weapons. It was to the point where Tyler Johnson led them in receiving yards. Kyron Williams literally had to carry this team. Matthew Stafford, like I said, he was bad. Gardner Minshew had 3 picks. This was one of those ugly games where after you watched this game, you had to take a shower. But the Rams eked out a win. Thank goodness. I was very happy that the Rams came off of a bye and they wound up winning. I don't care what anyone says. That's still a solid win, especially since Raider Nation took over SoFi. But they actually managed to double up that performance, and they managed to win by double the amount they did against the Vikings, as they wound up beating said Minnesota team 30-20 last night. Now, this was one of those interesting games. First 4 drives of the game: Vikings touchdown, Rams touchdown, Vikings touchdown, Rams touchdown. Next 4 drives of the game: Vikings punt, Rams punt, Vikings punt, Rams punt. Suddenly it was tied 15-15 at halftime. So, yeah, this was very weird to say the least. But it was very entertaining as well, just because it was a fun game, and this was had so many storylines. I feel that this game there's a good reason why I liked this game, and there are a few reasons why I didn't like this game. So one of the few reasons why I didn't like this game, the offense in the first half. Well, okay, on the first 4 drives, I said on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show social media, there's too many points being scored. Thankfully, both offenses kind of settled down, and thankfully they were able to get some stops. Both defenses got some stops. Now, for the second half, Matthew Stafford threw an interception, which I don't know who he was throwing to, but it is what it is. I don't know, bro. But eventually the defense held the Vikings to only 3 points, which is good. Then on the next drive, the Rams was able to get a touchdown from Demarcus Robinson. Thankfully, the Rams still have him. They did have Puka Nacua, which was good, and they also had Cooper Kupp. But Demarcus Robinson really stood out to me. It speaks to high volumes when he stands out, because Stafford can throw the ball to Puka and Kupp all he wants, but if he gets other receivers involved like Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson, it just makes the Rams a much better team offensively. But for the Rams, they managed to get that touchdown. They led 21-17 going into the 4th. Vikings managed to knock in a field goal, which good stop by the defense. Then the Rams got a touchdown from Demarcus Robinson again, this one coming from 10 yards out. So suddenly, the Rams are up 28-20. And then the Vikings, unfortunately, punt. And the Rams just needed to, chew up the clock. And they were getting some good first downs. It got to the point where the Vikings had to use all their timeouts. And the Rams did leave them with some time. They left them with the 2-minute warning. But they punted, and it landed all the way down to the 5. So I basically said it best. Vikings had 95 yards to possibly tie the game up. Well, 95 yards, and then they got to get the 2-point conversion. But unfortunately, the Vikings, Sam Darnold was sacked into the end zone for a safety. Now, I will say this. Looking back at the play, that is definitely a face mask, and Byron Young knew it when he saw it. Like he was putting his hands over his head. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to get face masks. But there was no call. So I don't know how the officials missed that one, especially since there was an official right in the back on that play. But man, now that wasn't the reason why the Vikings lost. The Vikings settling for field goals is the reason why the Vikings lost. The Vikings not getting stops against Matthew Stafford was the reason why they lost. Heck, the Rams didn't even need to use Kyron Williams all that much. Like Kyron Williams did have a receiving touchdown, but on the ground, he wasn't too big. But I will say this for the Rams, that was definitely their most complete win of the game. Okay, maybe not complete, but it was their most impressive win of the season. And honestly, they can only go up from here because they've got an extended rest. They have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back. Soon the O-line's going to be coming back. And soon, those Seattle Seahawks, they might get knocked off their pedestal. Do us a solid, Buffalo Bills. Win this week. Same goes for you, Miami Dolphins. Do the Rams a solid and win. Oh, no. Sorry. Little glitch. But, and same with you. I can't bank on the Cowboys to beat the Niners just because reasons. But, what can you do? The Rams get a nice little break. Their next game will be not this Sunday, but the following Sunday when they play the Seattle Seahawks. Very winnable game, but it's all about execution. So we'll see what happens. So, all right, but that's going to do it for the Rams and NFL portion of the show. So let's talk some World Series. The Dodgers, Viva los Dodgers! They are in the World Series. Thank goodness, baby. Yeah, and Marcus, being the Yankees fan he is, he says, go Yankees. And he says, he didn't even say the Dodgers are trash. So thank you, Marcus. But yeah, Marcus thinks he's a wise guy, and he put go Yankees early on. Yeah, Marcus had a lot of running of his mouth. He said he feels so much better. Okay. Was he sick? I'm glad you're feeling better. I need to get better, but I digress. All right, Dodgers are in the World Series as the starting pitcher will be Jack Flaherty. So this is going to be fun. It's the Yankees versus the Dodgers. Everyone and their moms are hoping that everyone and their moms was hoping that both of these teams would not make the World Series, but you hoped and it didn't pan out. So Garrett Cole is on the mound for the Yankees. So he's a Southern California native. He played at Orange Lutheran High School, which I think is pretty awesome if you ask me. So game will start at 5:08 Pacific time. Just going to forewarn everybody, and I maybe should have forewarned everyone of this at the beginning of the show. Traffic is going to be a nightmare, at least for tonight, because you got the USC Trojans playing. You got the Lakers playing the Suns. You got the great. I put the whole thing in, but you got the Lakers playing. You got the Lakers playing the Suns. You got USC playing Rutgers. You got the Dodgers playing. Traffic is going to be a nightmare when it comes to that area of Dodger Stadium, the Crypto.com Arena. It should still be Staples Center. Intuit Arena or Intuit Dome. And the list goes on and on. So leave accordingly. Leave as early as possible. If you're early, go get something to eat. Even if it means going to a Waffle House. I think there's a Waffle House in Los Angeles. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's Garrett Cole versus Jack Flaherty on the mound. And then for tomorrow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be on the mound for the Dodgers. And then as for the Yankees, it's going to be Carlos Rodon. So, yeah, that's kind of your info for the first two games. So game 1 is tonight. Game 2 is tomorrow. Hoping for the sake of the Dodgers, they pull it out. Oh, no. Excuse me for 1 second. And that is the first cough of the day. Over or under 3 coughs for me. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, those are the first 2 games. Game 1 is tonight. Game 2 is tomorrow. Tomorrow, okay, the same time for game 2. I will say this. I really want the Dodgers to win this World Series. I'm sick and tired of everyone giving the Dodgers grief when it comes to the 2020 World Series. It is an actual championship. I don't give a crap on what anyone says. And I also got to say, Dodgers in 6, baby. Dodgers are winning the series in 6. I feel the Yankees are kind of due for a clunker, and the Dodgers were battle tested. They gutted out a grueling series against the Padres, and they gutted out a grueling series against those Mets. Meanwhile, the Yankees just beat the Royals, and they just beat the Guardians. So, oh no. Excuse me for 1 second. Make that 2 coughs. So, we are already nearing the push limit for my coughs. So, oh boy. Thankfully, I've got some honey. But, yeah, World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what transpires. I really hope the Dodgers can pull it out. Nothing against the Yankees. They are one of the paragons in the MLB, and I have some friends that are Yankees fans. But it's time for the Dodgers to shine and win a full 162 game World Series. That's going to do it for the MLB portion of the show. They did beat the Mets, which I was very impressed that they did. Although they need 6 games to do it, hey, winning the series is winning the series. So once again, I feel the Dodgers are battle tested. I think they're ready for this moment. It's just all about executing down the stretch. But that's going to do it for the MLB portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves one last commercial break. When we come back, we have got some Lakers and Clippers to talk about, and we've got a little LAFC action. And then we've got the Dum Dum of the Week. Keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to the 305, aka the Magic City, and this is Magic City Scoreboard. I'm your host JB, and right here we're gonna talk anything Miami. Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, Miami Hurricanes, Marlins, Panthers, Inter Miami, and even high school football. So join me once a week right here on Magic City Scoreboard on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed to all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
And we are back with the final segment of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. All right, let's go over some NBA, as Marcus also put in the chat room. Lakers suck. I hope the Warriors... Okay, well, tell me, how the Warriors do last year? Didn't the Warriors, lose in the play-in? That doesn't count as a cough. I was just clearing my throat. But, yeah, Warriors lost in the play-in, buddy, and I know you're a Dubs fan. I know you're also a Celtics fan, which makes 0 sense, but we do not care. I don't care about your little comment. I know Marcus is just trying to be funny, but as for the let's discuss some Lakers. As abracadabra, trying to get the perfect purple. This will do. All right, so in terms of the NBA, sorry about the technical difficulties, but Lakers and Clippers both kicked off their season on Tuesday and Wednesday as the Lakers took on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And surprisingly, the Lakers looked decent. They wound up winning their season opener against the Timberwolves 110-103, which I thought was pretty good. Not going to lie, I thought this was going to be a little tougher. And the Lakers led by as many as 19. But the Timberwolves got down to as little as 4. I was like, oh no, Lakers are going to Laker all over again. But thankfully, LeBron James was able to help the Lakers close out the deal, as well as Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis even was getting MVP chance. It was so crazy. I was just in awe when I was, because I think people forget about this. Anthony Davis played 76 games. He played 76 games out of 82, which I think is pretty impressive. Everyone likes to call Anthony Davis always damaged or always injured and whatnot, but Anthony Davis looked pretty good if you ask me. So I think Anthony Davis can really, if he is healthy for the most part this season, I think the Lakers can be something special. Now, it's just one game. We can't expect the Lakers to go 82-0 this season, but I will just say I feel this is a promising start to JJ Redick's coaching career. Also, do you know the last time the Lakers won a season opener? I'll give you all a few seconds to answer in your mind or in the comment section. Okay, time's up. 2016. And those are some dark days. I think no, that was life after Kobe Bryant in the NBA. Rest in everlasting peace, Black Mamba. But yeah, it's been that long since the Lakers won a season opener. That's when you know they sucked. Okay, maybe not sucked, but that's when you know the words season opener and Lakers do not mix. So I think for the Lakers, this could be very promising, but the West looks stacked this year. It's not just going to be the Timberwolves. It's going to be the Denver Nuggets, the Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks, maybe the Clippers, maybe the Warriors. I feel there are some other teams I'm kind of missing. The Grizzlies. I'm blanking on some other Western Conference teams, but I feel the West might be stacked. But for the Lakers, that win over Minnesota was a good start to the season, as they're back in action tonight when they play the Phoenix Suns at Crypto.com Arena, which is still going to get some getting used to in terms of like saying the actual name instead of like saying Staples Center. It'll forever be Staples Center. Don't even debate it. So that's the Lakers season opener. So good job to the Lakers. I like it. So as for those Clippers, let's change the color. Abracadabra, alakazam. There we go. The Clippers, on the other hand, well, oof. They didn't look too hot in their win or in their loss against the Phoenix Suns. They wound up losing in overtime, 116-113. And if I recall correctly, in overtime, one of the players was at the line. I think James Harden was at the free throw line for 2 free throws. Clippers were down 2. First one was good. Second one was no good. And everyone that was a Clipper fan, including Steve Ballmer, was probably just, ugh. And eventually the Suns managed to put it away with 2 free throws. So, yeah. And by the way, oh boy. All right, you're at 3 coughs. So anyone that bet the over in terms of me coughing more or less than 3 times, get ready to start maybe getting paid out. Gamble responsibly, and no, you're not actually gonna get paid by me. But for the Clippers, they actually played their first game in Intuit Dome or Intuit Arena. So they no longer have to share Staples Center or Crypto.com Arena with the Lakers. They finally have their new stadium or new gymnasium and whatnot. So great stuff for the Clippers. Unfortunately, they wound up losing in Intuit Dome, which is such a bad way to open up a season. Okay, at least they didn't get blown out, but they lost in overtime, which I feel the Clippers didn't the Clippers like lead like a good chunk of the game. I feel the Clippers had a good led throughout most of the way. I just feel that the Suns, being the talented team that they were, they just kind of came back and wound up winning because they're just that good. But yeah, the biggest lead for the Clippers was 10. Okay, so they didn't lead by too much. Suns led by 14, which makes me wonder how they fumbled that game to begin with. Okay, the Clippers and Suns were pretty much neck and neck in that fourth quarter. Third quarter was where the Clippers shined, putting up 35. But I digress. Anyway, but yeah, Clippers are back in action Saturday when they play the Denver Nuggets in Denver. So there you have it right there for the Clippers and for the Lakers. So 2 different starts to the season. Can't really judge too much. It's only 1 game. They'll survive. Now let's jump to some MLS as the regular season is over and the Galaxy, oh my God. I can't believe this actually happened, but the Galaxy straight up laid a goose egg. Straight up laid a massive goose egg, losing. They lost out, and LAFC won out, and they lost the number 1 seed to LAFC. So, God, if there's ever a way to fumble the bag, that's how it is. And I feel bad for the Galaxy, but at the same time, it's like you should have taken care of business when you could. Unfortunately, that's just how it them's the breaks, unfortunately. And that's just how it is. You should have taken care of business against Houston, whether it be winning or tying, because all you needed was 1 point, and then you would have had the 1 seed. But sadly, you are the 2 seed. So the Galaxy are the number 2 seed. So who are their opponents, dare you ask? Their opponent in the MLS Cup playoffs is the Colorado Rapids, which I think is going to be a good little series. So if I recall correctly, if they haven't abandoned what they did last year, it's going to be a best 2 out of 3 where they play 1 game, I think, at the higher seed and then 1 game at the away seed. And then if a 3rd game is needed, I think it goes back to the home seed. So, yeah, that's how the Galaxy fumbled the number 1 seed. So I feel bad for the Galaxy, but again, you got to learn to take care of business. Thankfully, they lost in the regular season. So better they lost now than lose in the postseason. As for LAFC, their first round opponent is the Vancouver Whitecaps. So I feel this one's going to be a little bit easier said than done. I think Vancouver, if I recall correctly, I think Vancouver has gotten the number of LAFC a couple times, whether it be in tournaments or it be in the regular season. Regardless, I think LAFC really needs to – they can't get too high off of getting the number 1 seed. If they do, then obviously they won't be able to make it back to the MLS Cup. But I think LAFC should be fine. Do you know how much talent they have? Too much, if you ask me. So I think, for me, that both teams should be at their best. So I look forward to seeing what both the Galaxy and LAFC can do come playoff time. So go LAFC and go LA Galaxy. So next up, let's talk some LA Kings and Anaheim Ducks. So the Ducks haven't looked too good, unfortunately, as last time I talked about them, they beat the San Jose Sharks, but they wound up losing to the Golden Knights, and they also beat the Utah Hockey Club. Feels weird saying that instead of the Arizona Coyotes. But they lost to the Colorado Avalanche 4-3. Sorry. They lost in the freeway faceoff to the LA Kings 4-1, but they beat the San Jose Sharks 3-1. So long story short, the Ducks can only beat teams that are subpar. That's not going to get the job done, boys. I'm sorry, but this is starting to look like another washed away season for the Ducks. If they can only beat mediocre teams, okay, mediocre is a strong word. I shouldn't say that. If they can only beat the teams that are projected to be, in the bottom tier of the division, then that speaks to high volumes of what your team is. You're the best of the worst. Let that sink in. And as for the Kings aren't doing bad, actually. I talked about them having lost 3 straight, losing to the Bruins, Senators, and Maple Leafs. They actually wound up winning 2 straight as they beat the Montreal Canadiens. They took down the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim, and they took down they lost to the Golden Knights in Vegas, which was so unfortunate. But they finally got a home game, which unfortunately that's kind of the breaks when it comes to sharing a stadium with the Los Angeles Lakers. But they managed to beat the Sharks 3-2, even though the Ducks have kind of beaten them more. But it's still a win. Doesn't matter how ugly or how pretty it is. It's still a win, as the Kings are actually second in the Pacific Division, and they are 1 point behind the Calgary Flames. So honestly, for the Kings, they're starting to look like a promising team. But the NHL season is a marathon, not a sprint. There's plenty of time for the Kings to either get better or get worse. And the same can be said for the Ducks, even though it looks like the Ducks aren't going anywhere. Certainly not the San Jose Sharks. They're not going anywhere. So, yeah. But that is that for the Anaheim Ducks. So before we get on out of here, we got to go over Dumb of the Week. I know I'm kind of speeding this by, but I really want to stop as soon as possible just because this whole Cheskel thing is really hindering me, and I want to, kind of feel better going forward. But Dumb of the Week, I won't laugh too hard at this, but no one is safe from this award. It's an award I like to give out to when it comes to this, and we got to take it back to the Rams-Raiders game. So remember how I said the Raiders didn't do the smartest things? So it was 4th and goal. Raiders are down 20-12. The ball's on the Rams 7. It's looking like the Raiders are going to at least score and get the 2-point conversion. But then the Raiders get called for a false start, and it pushes them back to the 12-yard line. So it's 4th and goal still. But instead of going for it on 4th down, Antonio Pierce makes the stupidest decision to bring in a field goal unit. This man literally believes Gardner Minshew was going to save the day against the Rams, whose defense actually looked pretty decent. But Antonio Pierce, you was a dummy. Why would you not? Didn't you learn your lesson in week 1 when the Raiders played the Chargers? Why are you making these bonehead mistakes? Why are you not rolling the dice? I get it. Give your quarterback a chance, but he still needs a touchdown. Why not get the touchdown and get the 2-point conversion? You had to drive, 80 yards down the field to eventually try to get the go-ahead touchdown go-ahead touchdown altogether. But you really are banking on Gardner Minshew to win you a game when his only wins were against the Ravens, which I'm starting to think that was rather fluky. And the Browns, which are complete you-know-what. But Antonio Pierce, I was high on Antonio Pierce this season for the Raiders, and now I'm starting to think he's trying to play himself out of a coaching gig. I'm starting to think that he wants to get himself fired. Bro, you are dumb. You got to go for it. You got to roll the dice. You win with touchdowns, not with field goals. Why can't you not get it? I get now if it was like 4th and goal from like the 20, I would understand. But 4th and goal from like the 11 or 12, that's totally manageable. The Rams were getting gashed on that previous drive, the second to last drive. I just don't understand why Antonio Pierce decided to kick the field goal when he could have just tried to go for it. At the very least, they have the Rams pinned deep, and if they get a sack, well, then that's 2 points, and you get to drive the ball down, and you have the momentum because the Rams are on pins and needles trying to get their defense to get the stop. But no, you decided to go for the field goal and bank on Gardner Minshew to go like 80-plus yards down the field instead of going for having Gardner Minshew go for 11 or 12 yards down the field to get a touchdown. It's like, really? Are you just that dumb, Antonio Pierce? Like, whatever, dude. No wonder the Raiders are in the bottom of the AFC West. I know I shouldn't talk as a Chargers fan, but man, dude, Raiders are complete cheeks. The Raiders as a whole is Dum Dum of the Week, but it's got to be Antonio Pierce who is the main culprit of Dum Dum of the Week. And that, my friends, is all she wrote. I can't laugh at the Raiders too much just because congestion and also it's just not worth laughing at the Raiders anymore. I feel the Raiders are starting to become regulars on Dum Dum of the Week. It's like how JaVale McGee was a regular on Shaq Nafool. I just hope I don't get canceled for that. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for tuning in, even though I wasn't 100%. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I appreciate you. Shout out to everyone that listened live. It means a lot. For everyone here at iSports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have a great rest of the evening. Enjoy all the SoCal sports action, and I will see you Monday for Set Point. Have a great night, everybody. Let's go Dodgers. And remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace.